All right, so you can see on your screen that today we are moving into a standard that we've done before. This is a standard that was weak from our last case assessment. So I would like for you to fill in my blank using the chat feature. So you will type where I stop. I can compare and contrast a first-hand and second-hand account of the same event or blank. Very good. I see several people writing the word topic, and that's exactly what we're doing today. Our goal, our focus, is to compare and contrast two different accounts of the same event or topic, but one will be a first-hand account and one will be a second-hand account. Very good. Thank you for filling in my blank. As my screen updates today, as we're thinking about comparing and contrasting events that are the same, accounts that are the same, or topics that are the same, I want you to know that you do have notes in your interactive notebook that you can go back and study. So we're not learning anything new today, we're just becoming stronger in this area. So on your screen, please fill in my blank. It says beside the learning target, comparing and contrasting first-hand and second-hand accounts of the same event or topic will help you develop a deeper understanding of what blank. Very good. Alexia was the first person that typed that came to me and said happened. And that's exactly what growing readers do. They think about how is the information presented differently. It says read. When you compare accounts of the same topic, you are studying the writer's viewpoint. A first-hand account is written by someone who witnessed or took part in an event as it happened. Someone who heard or read about an event writes a second-hand account. You can compare the information or facts each writer chooses to emphasize. Very good. As my screen updates, you heard me say that we do have notes in our interactive notebook, and I want to encourage you to study these notes as we're growing, and this will be our focus for today. Also, this will be our focus for Thursday. So these are the notes we have, and we even have a foldable. So this is not new information, and I just want to remind you of what we've already glued in to help us. So once again, a first-hand account sometimes is called a primary source, a description of an event that comes from someone who was actually there to see or experience it. And then a second-hand account, a secondary source, a description of an event based on research, a description of an event given by someone who was not there to actually see the event occur. And then you can see there's some examples, and once again, if those are too small on your screen, you have them in your interactive notebook. So a first-hand account might be something like a diary or a journal, an interview, an autobiography, memories, letters or emails, speeches, legal documents. It will include a personal opinion, emotions and feelings. They're very specific because the author was there. The author lived it. But a second-hand account is research-based. It has key facts and information. It gives several different sources. It might be written, or most likely will be, from a third-person point of view instead of personal pronouns like a first-hand account. And we can find examples of first-hand accounts in things like an encyclopedia, textbooks, biographies, books, movies, newspapers, magazine articles. So just a review of some things that we've learned before. I want you guys to understand that a first-hand and second-hand account often are about the same topic or event, but they're written from different points of view or viewpoints. So sometimes we see those as multiple accounts of the same event. You can see that on your screen, some of the same information that we've already talked about today. One of the things I want you to notice is something you can ask yourself. when you're thinking about the difference between a first-hand and second-hand account. You can ask yourself, who wrote the account? Who wrote the account? You can also ask yourself, was the author present when the event happened? These are questions that growing readers ask themselves when they're thinking about, is it firsthand or is it secondhand? So I'm going to read those again. Who wrote the account, and was the author present when the event happened? These are important questions that growing readers ask. All right. Cam, I noticed you said you couldn't hear, but I wasn't speaking for a few minutes as I let my screen update. All right, so let's go ahead and warm up our brains and thinking about what we already know. Cam, I do want to say I thank you for using the comments appropriately. So you used it when you had a problem. You did not use it to respond to other people. Let's look at this first one. It says, today at 4:26 p.m. OMG, you will never believe what just happened to me. We checked into our hotel and got in the elevator. Someone stepped in behind us, and it was Michael Phelps. I gasped, and he smiled at me and asked how I was doing. I was so starstruck that I couldn't speak. So Dad told him that I am a swimmer too. Then he let my dad take a picture of the two of us and gave me his autograph. This was the best day ever. I want us to think about, is this a first-hand account or is it a second-hand account? And when you hear my code word, I want you to use your chat to answer. So the code word this week is going to be COVID-19. So when you hear me say COVID-19 in your chat feature, I want you to type the answer either first-hand or second-hand. COVID-19. Very good. Some of you guys were very, very ready. I noticed that Cohen was the first one that responded with first-hand account. And he's right. This is a first-hand account. It happened to the author. So now let's see this second one. Today, 4:30 p.m., let's think about, is this a first-hand or second-hand account? Check this out. Taylor, a buddy on my swim team, just met Michael Phelps in an elevator. Taylor got his picture taken with him and his autograph. Michael Phelps even asked Taylor how he was doing. I am so jealous right now. Listen for the code word. COVID-19. Whoa, you guys did awesome. I noticed Gage, he was one of the first people that said second-hand accounts. And he's right. This is not a first-hand account because it didn't happen to the author of this text message. This person heard about it from a friend and then wrote about it, making it a second-hand account. Very good job. Thank you for helping me with that. As we continue today, I want you to notice that when you compare accounts of the same topic, you are studying the writer's viewpoint. We've already reviewed that a first-hand account is written by someone who witnessed or took part in an event as it happened, while it's someone who heard or read about an event writes about it. That would be a second-hand account. You can compare the information or facts each writer chooses to emphasize. So let's go ahead and look at this comic, and let's see if we can determine what's first-hand and second-hand. In the first part of the comic, it says, in 1900, a powerful hurricane wrecked the city of Galveston, Texas. It destroyed many homes. This boy watched the hurricane as it was happening. His description of the event would be a first-hand account that includes his thoughts and feelings. He wants to retell what he experienced. And then you can see in the comic, he's there and he's looking at the damage and he says, I'm going to write down everything I've seen so that I can remember it. Let's look at the second part of the comic. The girl was not in Galveston in 1900. She knows about the hurricane from reading a book about it many years ago. The book would be a secondhand account with a broader focus. It would include background information and other details from research. And you can see she's saying, I learned about the Galveston hurricane by reading a new book about it. I'm noticing that Sarah Barton is asking me about logging back on. Sarah Barton, I would love to do that, but I've logged off and back on multiple times today, and it doesn't seem to be improving the quality. All right, so let's go ahead and compare and contrast these two different points of view or accounts. As my screen updates, you will soon be able to see a graphic organizer, and we call this a Venn diagram. I'm going to begin by modeling. Okay, so I'm considering what I've learned so far about the difference between a first-hand and a second-hand account. I'm thinking about the focus and how it's different. All right, so I'm thinking a first-hand account is written by someone who saw or took part in an event. It focuses on sharing the person's experience. I'm thinking that's different than a second-hand account. This is written by someone who only heard or read about the event. It focuses on reporting background information and other details from research. But I'm thinking that both a first-hand and a second-hand account retell the same event. So these are some similarities and differences. Now at the bottom of my screen, you're going to notice some important vocabulary words. We call this academic vocabulary. So we need to understand what words like first-hand account, second-hand account, compare, contrast, focus, and information mean. Let's go ahead and continue practicing the difference between a first-hand and second-hand account. Let's go ahead and think about this passage. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see. Remember thinking about, is this first-hand or second-hand? Please do not answer until I say the code word, and I will say that code word. So everyone's thinking about, is this first-hand or is this second-hand? I'm going to give my screen just a moment to update. The Boston Red Sox was a powerhouse baseball team in the early 1900s. They won 4 World Series championships between 1912 and 1918. 3 of those championships were won with the help of legendary baseball player Babe Ruth. The Red Sox traded Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees at the end of the 1919 season. The Sox experienced some rough years following the trade. 86 rough years to be exact. Although they came close a few times, they could not seem to win another World Series. In fact, some blamed their unfortunate luck on the curse of the Bambino. It was assumed by some that Babe Ruth had cursed the Red Sox team when he was traded to the Yankees, and that the well-known curse prevented them from winning their 6th World Championship. Everything changed, however, on October 27, 2004, when the Boston Red Sox finally won another World Series championship. The curse of the Bambino was history, and the Red Sox fans were ready to celebrate. Okay, so I'm thinking about, is this an example of a first-hand or a second-hand account? Using your chat, COVID-19. I'm noticing a lot of people responded with the answer that they felt this was a secondhand account. Emma, would you unmute your volume and tell us why you feel this is a secondhand account? If you typed the word secondhand account, you are correct, and I think maybe there's some connection problems. But I want everyone to know the reason it was a secondhand account is because it's based on research. The author wasn't actually there. Okay, so Will, do you still need me to repeat what I'm asking, or do you understand that this first passage, the Boston Red Sox, is a second-hand account? Oh, good deal. Thank you. Okay, so now let's look at this example. Passage B. As my screen updates, you should be able to see it better. Let's think about, is this a first-hand or second-hand account? I'm noticing some features that might help me. I'm noticing it says October 27th, 2004, and I'm noticing it might be a personal letter because it says, Dear Grandpa and Love Joe. But let's see what we can find out. Dad told me to go to bed. I'm sorry, let me start back at the beginning. October 27th, 2004. Dear Grandpa, Dad told me to go to bed, but I am way too excited to go to bed right now. Can you believe it? Our Boston Red Sox won the World Series. I have to admit, I sometimes wondered if the curse of the Bambino was more than just superstition, and if Babe Ruth really had placed a curse on the Red Sox when they sold him to the New York Yankees. Now I feel foolish for ever thinking that silly curse might be true. Dad and I watched the game on TV tonight. Lowe did some great pitching, didn't he? You should have seen Dad and me jumping and screaming when Johnny Diamond hit his home run in the first inning. My heart was pounding through the entire game. I have never been so nervous in my entire life. I'll never forget the joy I felt on that final out when the Cardinals hitter grounded the ball back to Folk on the pitcher's mound, and then Folk threw it underhand to Mitchke on first base to win the game. What an unbelievable World Series. Let's celebrate the next time we get together, okay? Love, Joe. Okay, so I want every person to think about, is this first hand or second hand? And when you hear our code word, you're going to type your answer. COVID-19. Very good. First hand account. Awesome. And this is a first hand account. Norbeth, if you can hear me, can you unmute yourself and explain how you know this is a first hand account? Very good. Thank you, Norbeth. One thing I love about what Norbeth said is she said it's written as a personal letter. So she understands that the author, it happened to the author. The author was there, it's personal, and that is why the author said things like, Dad and I watched the game. So it's more than just understanding the clue words, it's understanding what the text is mostly about, which is kind of like the main idea. Very good, Norbeth. Thank you for helping me with that. Okay, so now my screen is updating, And as we continue reading, we're going to be looking further at examples. And as we're looking, we're going to be thinking about, is this a first-hand or second-hand account? And I noticed that Sarah Barton earlier asked about, will we have independent practice today? And the answer is yes. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, you will have an independent assignment, but you will not have them only on Fridays. So I think about that kind of like I think about I don't give homework on the weekends, so I'm using that same policy about our virtual learning. Okay, so on your screen, you're going to see a News ELA article that says, neighbors create bear hunts for kids amid coronavirus. Okay, so let's see what we can discover about this. And let's see if we can think about if it's firsthand or secondhand. Maybe some of you already have an idea, but let's see if we can prove it. So I'm noticing a text feature. I'm noticing there's an image, and it kind of looks like a photograph of somebody's front porch. I'm noticing that there are two bears on it, a large bear, and then a small pink bear are in that big bear's lap. Okay, underneath that image, it says, image 1, a bear sits on a bench outside of a home in Oakland subdivision on March 23, 2020 in Lafayette, Louisiana. Residents of Oakland subdivision and St. Street's area are putting teddy bears in their windows so parents can take kids on bear hunts and take photographs or photos of some of the teddy bears. Photo, Brad Kemp, the advocate. Okay, so I think this might be a clue because it tells me more about the text feature of that photograph. Okay, so now let's see what we can discover about this text. Please use your please use your chat feature to fill in my blank. And my screen is zooming in. It might take a few minutes, but you should be able to see it better in just a moment. Okay, so as I'm reading your comments, remember to say anything to another person is stepping outside of your circle. So, Will, I understand that you have a pure heart and you want people to do what's right. I'm very much like that, but I'm going to ask you not to use the chat feature to do that. So, Ms. Hogue is here to help us with that. Allow her to do that. Wes, saying things like mind your own business breaks the social contract, and it would not be allowed in the classroom, so it is not allowed here. Okay. So no one is using their chat feature to tell other people to keep the social contract. That expectation changed because we can't handle it. So the only people allowed to say anything about the social contract are adults that are joining us. All right, so let's go back to our text, and please use your chat to fill in the blank. A treasure hunt of sorts is taking place in one neighborhood of Lafayette, Louisiana. During the week of March 23rd, children have been taking out maps and binoculars in the streets. Their goal? To find Teddy blank. Many parents and children are trying to find ways to stay entertained while they're out of school and sticking close to home because of the coronavirus. Coronavirus is a flu-like illness. It began in China and has been spreading across the globe since December 2019. Health officials have been encouraging social distancing. This means staying home and staying away from other people to help slow the spread of the blank. Many schools have shut down. Many companies are telling employees to work from home. Major sporting and entertainment events have also been canceled or blank. Good job helping me fill in those blanks. Let's keep going. The teddy bear hunt has grown in this new period. Neighbors are placing teddy bears in street-facing windows. Children can hunt them out on walks and bicycle rides through their neighborhood. Some areas in London, England have joined in too. And now I'm noticing a bold subheading. It says, spreading the word about teddy bears. The idea may be based on a book called We're Going on a Bear Hunt by Michael Rosen and Helen Oxenberry. In Lafayette, in early March, parents and residents got together on a neighborhood page on social media website Facebook. They began to spread the word. Soon, teddy bears started appearing in windows. Myrtle Place resident Jackie Russo has 3 bears in her windows. She first observed it in mid March. So you can see a picture, and there's a teddy bear in a window. People are putting bears in windows, flower beds, along fence lines, she said. Then they are posting their addresses on the neighborhood Facebook page so people can map a route and parents can take their kids walking on a bear hunt. And the children are serious about it, Russo said, taking paper and pens and mapping routes. Some even bring binoculars to help them hunt out the cuddly blank. I love it, Russo said. It's a way for neighbors to help out. Very good, Will. First person to respond with the word creatures. Great job, Marley. Very good, Emma. Great job, Jordan, Alicia. Creatures. Thank you, Sam. Now I'm noticing another bold part, and it says children write messages with sidewalk chalk. In the late morning, some parents in their neighborhood walk their children to school to pick up lunch. They're also hunting for teddy bears at that time, Russo said. In the afternoons, children can be seen making chalk drawings of teddy bears. Some write inspiring phrases on driveways and sidewalks, she said. A few parents are even hanging lines in their front yards to display children's drawings of bears. One Oakland resident posted on March 23rd how proud she is to live in the neighborhood. Her daughter spotted 50 teddy bears on their walk that day. If you don't live in the area, you can start something similar in your neighborhood. Teddy bears aren't the only thing adding cheers to homes and lives in Lafayette Parish, Louisiana. In the Sawgrass Park neighborhood in South Lafayette Parish, rainbows are showing up all over the place. They're arriving even when there hasn't been a rain blank. Good. Rainbows are also popping up is the next bold part. Mary LeBlanc has 2 young children and another on the way. She learned about the rainbows from her sister-in-law who lives in New Orleans. LeBlanc posted it on the neighborhood Facebook page. Word spread and children took out their crayons and markers to create beautiful rainbows they put in the street-facing windows for a giant neighborhood I Spy game. Children also are spreading rainbows outside, drawing them in chalk on sidewalks and driveways. Some of the neighbors are posting their addresses on the Facebook page, inviting kids to stop by their street. Parents like LeBlanc and her husband, who are working from home during the coronavirus spread, are taking family walks and bike rides, searching out the rainbows. It's cheerful, LeBlanc said. It's something to look forward to. And who doesn't need a little cheer during these times? And that's how our article ends. Thank you for helping me read that. And once again, we're thinking about our question, first-hand or second-hand account. So right now, please use your chat feature to answer. COVID-19. I'm noticing almost every person is saying this is a second-hand account. Good job. Riley, if you can hear me, can you unmute your volume and tell us why you feel this is a second-hand account? Riley, we can hear you if you want to go ahead and tell us. Very good. Thank you for helping me with that, Riley. And you are exactly right, and so is everyone else that wrote the word secondhand. So now let's look at this text and let's see if this is a first-hand or secondhand account. If you're looking at your screen, you can see that there's an image, and you should know these two faces well. This is Aiden and Blakely Ruth. I've shown them to you in our lesson several times before. So let's see about this text. Please fill in my blank. COVID-19 was not going to get in our way today. I absolutely could not wait to tell Aiden about our afternoon adventure. I couldn't remember the last time we left the house, but today was the day. As I buckled Aiden into his car seat, I couldn't wait to reveal our secret blank. Hey, Mom, where are we going? Aiden questioned as I buckled my own seatbelt. We are going on a bear hunt, I replied. I watched his eyes light up as he listened carefully. What do you mean, a real bear hunt? He asked. We are going to hunt for bears, but they aren't real. Let me read you a book while Dad drives so you can understand a little more about our adventure, I answered. I finished reading the book We're Going on a Bear Hunt to Aiden. Then I finished explaining that we would be driving to different locations around New Albany to see how many bears we could find at different houses. Okay, I'm ready, Aiden replied. As we drove, we counted all the bears we found in different blank around the small town of New Albany, Mississippi. Some bears were in windows and some were on doors. We found over blank bears during our adventure on Saturday, March 28th, 2020. I will never forget the look in Aiden's eyes each time he found a new bear and increased our total number. Even though our world was facing such a difficult time, it was nice to see such amazing neighbors come together to provide an amazing adventure for boys and girls all over the community. Although I may forget the number of bears we found that day, I will never forget the memories we made on our bear hunt. I will never forget the laughs we heard or the excitement in Aiden's voice when a new bear was found. There is no doubt that I am ready for things to return to normal, but I will always blank the time I have had with those that I love most. Good job. Cherish. And cherish means hold on to and remember and love. Good. So now I would like for you, when you hear my code word, to tell me, is my example that I just finished reading, is it first-hand or second-hand? COVID-19. Good. This is a first-hand account. Awesome. Alicia, if you can hear me, would you please unmute yourself and tell us, how do you know this is a first-hand account? Very good. Thank you, Alicia. Guys, this is a first-hand account, and this is true. We went on a bear hunt Saturday, and we found over 90 bears in our actual community. So this is an example of a first-hand account. Very good. Thank you for helping me determine which one was firsthand and which one was secondhand. And before we move to what's next, I want to encourage you guys to do the same thing if you are able to. This is a great activity, and you do not have to get out of your car. You can simply ride around. You can look in your neighborhood if you have permission from your parents. And I want to see if maybe on Thursday you guys can tell me if you went on a bear hunt, and if you did, how many bears you found. Okay, so guys, we are still going to be learning about first and second hand accounts, but I want to go ahead and move into what expected to do on your own today. So you do have an independent assignment, and it can be found in Google Classroom. And you will notice that I have already posted Tuesday and Thursdays. So please do not accidentally click on the wrong one. Make sure you understand that today is Tuesday. You will click on Tuesday's independent practice, and once you click on that, you will see directions for you to log into Mastery Connect. Now, once you log into Mastery Connect, you will need this code. So this has been posted in Google Classroom for you to use it. I want you to know it so that you can do that, and I want you to do that today. Now, if you put it off until tomorrow, you're going to end up with a math assignment as well. So I would not put it off. I would do it today. And on Thursday, we will go over this. So once I go over it, you will no longer be allowed to click in the answers because I will be giving you the best answers. Okay, so at this time, I want you to know on Thursday we will continue our study of first-hand and second-hand accounts. You will do your independent practice, and at this time, if you need to talk to me and you just want to talk for a minute, please feel free to stay on, or if you have any questions, please feel free to stay on. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited I got to see all of you on this wonderful Tuesday.